A Serbian farmer shows up at the hospital, beer bottle shoved inside him. He blames Albanian attackers. By the time this lie finishes spreading, 800,000 people will be ethnically cleansed. And Putin is using this exact playbook in Ukraine right now. This is History versus Hype. I'm about to show you how one man's lie became the blueprint for modern warfare. How Serbian intellectuals weaponized legitimate historical grievances to justify genocide. And how those same tactics are tearing apart the world today. This isn't about taking sides. This is about how real history gets twisted into deadly propaganda. May 1st, 1985, Gjorje Martinović rushes to a hospital in Kosovo. The 56-year-old Serbian farmer has a beer bottle lodged in his rectum. It's broken inside him. The injuries are severe. His story: two masked Albanian attackers tied him up and tortured him. They wanted to drive him off his land. But Colonel Novak Ivanović investigates the case. His conclusion: Martinović is lying. The medical evidence shows the injuries were self-inflicted. Now, in any normal world, that would be the end of it. One bizarre incident, case closed. But this wasn't just any province. This was Kosovo. And for Serbs, Kosovo isn't just land, it's sacred ground. Instead of accepting the medical evidence, Serbian intellectuals see an opportunity. 216 prominent academics sign a petition in January 1986. Listen to what they wrote. The case of Gjorje Martinović has become that of the whole Serb nation in Kosovo. They compared it to medieval Turkish torture. They called it proof of Albanian genocide. And the Serbian public, they believed every word. Because this wasn't just about one farmer. For Serbs, this was about losing their Jerusalem. Now, you might be wondering, Jerusalem? Why would a province in Yugoslavia matter that much? The answer takes us back 600 years. To a battlefield, a choice, and a story that shaped an entire people. To understand what happened next, you need to understand what Kosovo means to Serbian identity. And it's not nothing. Kosovo contains some of Serbia's most sacred Orthodox monasteries. Dečani, built in the 14th century. Gračanica, with its stunning Byzantine frescoes. The Patriarchate of Peć, seat of the Serbian Orthodox Church. But above all, there's the Battle of Kosovo. June 28th, 1398. Prince Lazar chooses to fight the Ottoman Empire, knowing he'll likely die. According to Serbian epic poetry, he chose heavenly glory over earthly defeat. For 600 years, this story shaped Serbian identity. The idea that Serbs would rather die than surrender their faith and freedom. By 1998, Slobodan Milosevic stood on that same battlefield and told 1 million Serbs. Through the play of history and life, it seems as if Serbia has, precisely in this year, regained its state and national dignity. This isn't fabricated emotion. These are real historical sites, real cultural memory, real fears about demographic change. By 1981, Serbs were only 13% of Kosovo's population. Many were leaving for jobs in Belgrade and elsewhere. The question haunting Serbian intellectuals was simple: are we losing our sacred heartland? But here's where history gets complicated, because Albanian families have their own 600-year-old memories of this place. Ottoman tax records from 1488 show mixed Albanian-Serbian populations already living together. Both peoples had called Kosovo home for centuries, moving around, following work, fleeing wars, intermarrying. Even that sacred battle of Kosovo, Prince Lazar's army included Albanian warriors fighting alongside Serbs against the Ottomans. They weren't ancient enemies. They were allies facing a common threat. And those Serbian monasteries, They're absolutely real and historically significant, but they were built in a region that was already ethnically mixed. Serbian researchers studying one district in the 1930s found something fascinating. 706 families who'd lived there for generations, and 1,819 families who were recent immigrants. Both Serb and Albanian families showed the same pattern. The uncomfortable truth: both peoples are indigenous to Kosovo. Both have legitimate historical claims. Both have suffered real injustices. But in the 1980s, Serbian intellectuals decided that acknowledging this complexity wasn't politically useful. So they simplified the story. And simplified stories make excellent propaganda. Meet the man who turned these complex realities into simple lies. Spiridon Gopsević, the father of Serbian political ethnography. This guy published academic research proving that all Albanians in Kosovo were actually Albanized Serbs. Brilliant scientific breakthrough, right? Except German scholars quickly exposed him as a complete fraud. His supposed research journey through Kosovo never happened. He just copied other books and made things up. Gustav Weygand, the leading German Balkan expert, called his work a mass of crude lies. The Serbian government's response: they funded a lavish German translation anyway, because the lies supported their territorial ambitions. This is how legitimate cultural concerns get weaponized into academic fraud. By the 1980s, Serbian intellectuals were mass-producing books about Albanian genocide against Serbs, systematic persecution, cultural extermination, a conspiracy to drive out the Serbian people. Here's the reality check that destroys this narrative. Between 1981 and 1978, there were exactly 5 inter-ethnic murders in all of Kosovo. 5. 2 Albanians killed Serbs. 3 Serbs killed Albanians. Kosovo had the lowest crime rate in Yugoslavia. That's not genocide, that's barely a statistic. Look, were some Serbs genuinely concerned about their future in Kosovo? Absolutely. Were there real tensions over jobs, language rights, and cultural preservation? Of course. But when intellectuals take legitimate anxieties and turn them into genocide fantasies, that's not scholarship. That's manufacturing consent for ethnic cleansing. Fast forward to 1999. NATO bombs Serbia for 78 days. Serbian propaganda immediately frames this as unprovoked Western aggression against innocent Serbs defending their sacred land. But let's talk about what actually triggered those bombs. By March 1999, Serbian forces had already displaced 300,000 people. They were forcing refugees to destroy their identity documents at the border. Why? So they couldn't prove citizenship and return home. The Rasak massacre. 23 Albanian men, separated from their families, lined up, shot at close range. Not soldiers, not fighters, just Albanian villagers executed for being Albanian. Remember Martinović and his beer bottle. It started with one man's lie about being victimized. It ended with 800,000 real victims being ethnically cleansed. Those Serbian monasteries they claimed to be protecting, still standing. Those Albanian families they claimed were threatening Serbian survival, driven from their homes in cattle cars. Now, here's where this story becomes a threat to all of us. Putin was watching. Putin was learning. Putin was copying. 2008, Russia invades Georgia, explicitly citing Kosovo as precedent. 2014, Putin annexes Crimea, referencing Kosovo independence in his speech. 2022, Russia recognizes breakaway territories in Ukraine, using the exact same playbook, same historical grievances. same protection of minorities narrative, same academic authorities vouching for ancient injustices, same humanitarian intervention to save your people. Russian bots today spread the exact same Kosovo myths Serbian intellectuals perfected 40 years ago. The template doesn't just work, it's scalable. And next time, it might be your historical grievances they weaponize. So, what's the real lesson here? It's not that Serbian concerns about Kosovo were illegitimate. Many of them weren't. It's not that Albanian families didn't also have valid claims to their homeland. They absolutely did. The lesson is how smart people take complex, legitimate grievances and turn them into simple, deadly lies. Real monasteries become proof of eternal ownership. Demographic anxiety becomes genocide fantasy. Academic fraud becomes government policy. Government policy becomes ethnic cleansing. And at every step, educated people who should have known better chose the convenient lie over the complicated truth. The next time someone tries to sell you a war, listen for this pattern. Ancient grievances with real historical roots. Academic authorities vouching for simplified narratives. Victim stories that justify any response. Ask yourself, what complexity is this story erasing? What legitimate concerns is it weaponizing? And what do they want me to do about it? Because once you see how legitimate grievances get turned into propaganda, you can't unsee it. And propaganda, once exposed, loses its power to destroy. Even propaganda that starts with something as real as sacred ground and as fake as a farmer's lie.